Hello learners, we are on Mappy Arts Quarter 1 Week 2. Okay, the topic is all about fabric designs of Southeast Asia. I'm your teacher John Alejandro. Now let us proceed. Okay, the word is fabric. It is a noun. It means cloth or other materials produced by weaving or knitting fibers. Or in Tagalog, it is tela. Secondly, we have the Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia composed of a vast region of Asia situated east of the Indian subcontinent and south of China. It consists of two dissimilar portions, a continental projection, commonly called mainland Southeast Asia, and a string of archipelagos to the south and east of the mainland, insular Southeast Asia. Includes the land of Thailand, Laos, Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Indonesia, Singapore, and of course the Philippines. Let's have now the topic. Fabric design of Thailand. Thailand is famous for fabrics, especially its produce from the cocoons of Thai silkworm to the loom. Traditionally, there are some main patterns that are used in Thai fabrics. The patterns in the silk were inspired by things in the natural world surrounding the weaver, such as rice, snakes, flowers, birds, and leaves. Through today, many weavers are updating their traditional process with more modern design. Matmi, pattern silk is made from a specific kind of dyeing process. It is most commonly seen in the weaving of Isaan or northeastern Thailand. Here we have an example of matmi. Another one we have yak dork. It's another kind of pattern that is woven in Thai silk. It is a kind of broken and open, features an overall patterns of flowers. Here we have another example of yak dork. Fabric design of Cambodia. Silk weaving has been part of Cambodia culture for centuries, since textiles are used for trading. Modern textiles have traces of motifs imitating clothing details on ancient stone sculpture. We have two types of Cambodian weaving. One is Ikat technique, Khmer term Shongkiet. This means to create patterns, weavers ties and dye portions of webbed yarn before weaving begins. Patterns are diverse and vary by region. Common motifs include lattice, stars, and spot. Another one we have uneven twill. It yields single or two color fabrics, which are produced by weaving three so that the colors of one thread dominates on one side of the fabric, while the two others determine the color on the reverse side. Cambodian textile has employed natural dyes coming from insect nests, that is red dye, indigo blue dye, rohit bark, yellow and green dye. Cotton textiles have also played a significant role in Cambodia. Traditionally, woven cotton remains popular. Rural women often weave homemade cotton fabrics, which is used in garments and for household purposes. Krama, the traditional check scarves worn almost universally by Cambodians, are made of cotton. Fabric design of Laos. Laos is famous for its hand-grown, spun, dyed, hand-woven cotton, and silk fabric made by the Lao village women. Silk and cotton making process. Dyeing and weaving near Vientiane. Silk and cotton weaving by hand is an old-age tradition in the Lao. Strand by strand, Lao stories were weaved in the intricate, dense patterns and motifs of textile. Unfortunately, some are elaborately fantastic and the motifs so cryptic that in many cases only the weaver can accurately interpret the story. How about the scene? The Lao woman's ankle long skirt whose form is undeniable but whose patterns are unique to each skirt. Sin would wear throughout her lifetime. She uses folk icons to express personal views. This is often accomplished by symbolist totems from the inanimate or animate world. Crabs for resourcefulness, snakes for fertility, butterflies for beauty, birds for success, and so on. Fabric design of Vietnam. Golden thread silks were born in Vietnam. Many Vietnamese fabrics originated from Hadong, the center of weaving and sericulture, meaning silkworm production for centuries. All jacquard looms are still used. Weaving patterns, conditioning centuries, all symbols and characters. Popular Vietnamese fabrics. We have Shantung Tapeta and other one we have Bengalin weaves. Ebony satin, an all-natural lustrous silk hand-woven in southern Vietnam and naturally dyed using ebony fruit punch. The fabric dates back over a century but was recently revitalized by the designer Bo Viet Chung. Moving now to Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Batik, the traditional fabric of Indonesia. It will be impossible to visit or live in Indonesia and not to expose to one of the country's most highly developed art forms, and that is the batik. Natural materials such as cotton or silk are used for the cloth so that it can absorb the wax that is applied in the dye resisting process. The cloth that is used for batik is washed and boiled in water many times prior to the application of wax so that all traces of starches, lime chalk, and other sizing materials are removed. Two categories of batik design. One is geometric motifs and the other one is free-form design. The method of Malaysia's batik making is also quite different from those of Indonesian Javanese batik. The pattern is larger and simpler. It seldom or never uses canting to create intricate patterns and rely heavily on brush painting methods to apply colors on fabric. Two main types of batik that are reproduced. Hand painted, with the use of canting, a small copper container with one or more different size pipe. Another one is block printed. It is done by welding together strips of metal to form a metal block. The metal block is then dipped into the molten wax and pressed against the fabric in order to make a pattern. Brunei's traditional textile is also called batik, but is uniquely different from Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. Each design have their national flower, simpor, simboy, simbor, or the pitcher plant, and Brunei's traditional design of air mulay. Different techniques are used in Brunei's batik, like airbrushing, cracking, bubbling, rainbow, sprinkle, geometry, and marble. These techniques are applied on the fabrics like cotton, chiffon, linen, and brocade. Let's have another topic, and that is arts and crafts of Southeast Asian. Let's take first the Thailand. Okay, in Thailand, we have the Lai Krathong Festival. It is a festival in which was held on the night of the 12th full moon, usually in November. With Chiang Mai believed that to have the brightest and most spectacular celebrations that features flying lanterns, sky lanterns or whist lanterns are also commonly known have become popular on the main tourist beaches of Phuket. Another arts and crafts, we have Cambodia. Handicrafts parts of Cambodian traditional culture and their livelihood as they produce textile, baskets, jars, pottery, and other tools for their daily use. Many indigenous groups have established small enterprises and produce traditional products to generate supplementary income in order to support their livelihood. Arts and crafts of Laos. In Laos, we have the Sa paper, was used for calligraphy and for making festive temple decorations, umbrellas, fans, and kites. In former times, it was also used as filter in the manufacture of lacquerware. Sandpaper handicrafts has been revived, particularly in Luang Prabang, a northern Laos, where it is now used to create lampshade, writing paper, greeting cards, and bookmarks. We have the example here on the right side. Arts and crafts of Vietnam. Vietnamese painting typically showcase the countryside landscape, pagodas, historical events, or scenes of daily life. We have here one example of silk painting in Vietnam on the right side. How about in Indonesia? In Indonesia, we can find the wayang kulit. Wayang kulit is a type of puppet shadow play performed around the Indo-Malaysian archipelago, tracing its origin to India. It is derived from a Japanese Hindu-Buddhist tradition, where handcrafted leather puppets depict epic stories of the gods in shadow play. How about the show? The puppet are moved behind a cotton or linen screen by a dalang, or a puppet master, in a shadow puppet play. The dalang tells the story, interprets, and voices each character, producing sound effect with speech and movement, and manipulates all the figures between the lamp and the screen to bring the shadows to life. Arts and crafts of Malaysia. Farmers use kites as scarecrows in the fields and as a means to lull their children to sleep, so they could work little interruption. Now, kite flying has become popular sport not just in Malaysia, but also internationally. Malaysia has been celebrating kite festivals annually like the Pasir Gudang International Kite Festival. These kite festivals encourage more tourists to visit the country. As you can see in the example, kites are flying in the sky. Let us see the arts and crafts of Brunei. Songkok. Songkok came to be associated with Islam in Malaysia, while in Indonesia, Peci is also associated with the nationalist secular movement. In Brunei Darussalam, men's headgears are categorized into three. We have dastar or destar, which is piece of a cloth tied around the head. We have one example of dastar. Number two, songkok or kopia, a type of cap made from velvet. Another example. And number three, the tengkolok or serban. Let's move now to the new topic, and that is mood and idea of artifacts from Southeast Asia. We have one, Cambodia. The art of stone carving flourished in Cambodia. A small statue to the breathtaking carving found at Angkor Wat. This art medium has become one of the country's most cherished art forms. Okay, Thailand, the Wat Pho in Bangkok is 46-meter long and 15-meter high. The most commonly used materials in sculptures are wood, stone, ivory, clay, and various metals. In Laos, the most famous statue made of gold is the Phra Say of the 16th century. Another famous sculpture is the Phra Vang, which is also cast in gold. In Vietnam, we have sculpture has been heavily influenced by three traditional religions. One, Dong Son culture, famous for its kettle drums, small carving, and house utensils. Another one, we have the mourning houses, erected to honor the death of Jia Rai and Bana. Let's move now to Indonesia. Indonesia is known for its stone, bronze, and iron age arts. We have at least nine most amazing sculpture. One is Asmat wooden sculpture. Secondly, we have Dayak wooden mask and sculpture. Three, ancestral wooden statue of Turaha. Four, totem-like sculpture of Batak. And number five, we have Nias tribes. And number six, we have the most famous Borobudur temple. Seven, Bali and Hirapa. Eight, we have Balinese handicrafts. And last, the Pelamina Nebiok. Let's move to Malaysia. Relief sculpture are most common in Malaysian artifacts. We have at least two Malay wood carving. One is Ukiran Halus and the other one is Ukiran Kasal. Now let's see in Singapore. Merlion, the most popular landmarks in the city depicting a mythical creatures of a lion's head in the body of fish. Other one we have Sri Mariamam Hindu Temple, constructed and dedicated to the goddess Mariamam. In Brunei, we have metal sculpture of Asian Park. It is established in 1975 by Brunei Arts and Handicrafts Training Center. Let's go now to your written works. 1. Learning Task 3 can be found on page 16. Number 2. Learning Task 3 can be found on page 24. How about your performance task? Okay, learning task number 5, making a wayang kulit puppet, can be found on page 25. Okay, see the direction there. Reminders, picturean lang ang nagawang wayang kulit, puppet at iprint ito. Picture lang yung papasa. Put your name and section.